Hello, my name is Miss Kayla, the children's librarian at the Dubuque County Library. This is the seventh and final week of our summer reading program story starters for Reading Colors Your World. So our continent of this week is Europe. So the book I have with me is Dragonfly Song by Wendy. So I'll read the first chapter. Around 4,000 years ago, on the Mediterranean island of Crete, a great Bronze Age civilization grew up. Its palaces had grand courtyards and stairways, flushing toilets, light wells, and painted frescoes on the walls, ceilings, and floors. They were filled with beautiful art, gold, and jewelry, images of priestesses holding snakes, and of young men and women leaping over the back of giant bulls. Archaeologists call it the Minoan civilization, in honor of the legends of King Minos of Crete. One of the most famous legends is of a half-man, half-bull minotaur that lived in Minos's palace. This monster ate human flesh, and every 9 years, or every year, depending on who's telling the story, the town of Athens was forced to send 7 youths and 7 maidens for the Minotaur to catch and devour. But do these bull-leaping paintings tell us how the legend truly began? What if the youths weren't sent to be eaten by a monster, but to gamble with their lives in a thrilling, dangerous spectacle? And perhaps tributes didn't come only from Athens, but from anywhere that the powerful Minoan navy could threaten. Maybe even from a small distant island where a snake priestess still ruled. Chapter 1. The Firstborn Daughter. In her dreams, Isa feels memory, before thought or words, when she is still soft and small and warm in her mother's arms. A dada face leans, squeezing her arms tight, a flash of silver, pain, blood dripping from her hands, and the dada face dripping tears. Slippery as snakes, the whispers slide from the hall to the town and across the island, up hills and through valleys, from the Fisher's Cove to the furthest mountain farm. The whispers say it's not true that the lady's firstborn died at birth. They say it's worse. The baby was born with an extra thumb dangling from each wrist. If she's not perfect, she can never follow in her mother's footsteps. The whispers grew. Is the lady fit to rule us if she can't have a perfect child? But the chief looks down at his newborn daughter and thinks she is the loveliest thing he's ever seen. What does it matter if she's got an extra thumb? They're barely thumbs anyway, just wiggly lumps. Wiggly lumps, shrieks the lady, as if he said boar's tusks. Whatever you call them, she shouldn't have them, and I shouldn't have her. What do you mean? Asked the chief. The lady cries and doesn't answer. And so, in a moment of madness, the chief defies the lady and the gods. He will make his daughter perfect himself. First left, then right, he holds the tiny arms and with his sharp bronze knife slices away the useless thumbs. He pinches the wounds shut till the bleeding stops, and rocks his baby till her crying stops too. The very next day, as he fishes on a peaceful sea, a high curling wave comes from nowhere. It swerves and chases him. It towers over his boat, swamps and sinks it. In seconds, the chief, the baby's father, the lady's husband, leader of the guards, hunters, and fishers, ruler over land disputes and village squabbles, is gone. The gods have spoken. The baby's fate can't be changed with the cut of a knife. Her mother wailing louder than baby Isa, more weeping all around, as if the walls have tongues and tears. Isa, too young for words, old enough for nightmares. In the dark of almost morning, lifted from her mother's bed, cradled on a bony chest, smelling kindness and fear, but no milk, the baby sleeps again, rocking, jolting through cool night air, up the hill and across the mountain. Kelia is a wise woman who takes the baby from the lady's bed. Cradling her in a sling across her chest, she wraps her cloak around them both. It's too early for even the lowliest servants to be up. No one sees her slip through the darkened hall and across the square to the kitchen gate. The mountain lane is steep and narrow, but Kelia's feet know it well. She hurries as fast as she can in the darkness. She is old and stiff. She is carrying a heavy basket of gifts, as well as the baby, and she has a long way to go. If she could have asked for help, she would, but she can't burden even the other wise women with this knowledge, not when she's keeping the truth from the lady herself. She's happy to see the sky lightening by the time she reaches the source. The cave sheltering the spring is white, and so are the pebbles leading down to its shore, but the pool itself is bottomless and blue, bubbling up from the heart of the earth. Steam rises from it, mixing and swirling with the cool morning mist. Kelia leaves her cloak and basket at the start of the rocky slope. There are flowers on top of the gifts, white and yellow daisies, bluebells, and blood-red anemones. Clutching them in one hand, she picks her way carefully down to the edge of the water. "Great Mother, accept my offering," she calls, and throws the flowers into the pool. They drift on the surface, twirling and bobbing. Kelia stands with her hand on her heart, watching and praying. As the bluebells start to sink, a dragonfly hovers over them, iridescent blue in the dawn light. The wise woman sighs with relief. Her gift is acceptable. She is betraying the lady, but not the goddess. She lifts the baby from the sling and unwraps her swaddling blanket. No one knows all the secrets of the source, but Kelia knows more than most. Hoisting her tunic up over her knees, she squats on the pebbles at the edge of the small, shallow inlet where the water is cooler. Farther in, the pool is hot enough to boil pork. She dips the baby in the water. "Keep this little one safe," Kelia begs. Once, twice, 3 times, dunking the tiny body under the warm blue surface. The child doesn't cry until she's lifted out and dried. Kelia tucks her back into her sling, scrambles up the slope, and picks up her cloak and basket again. It's not far from here to the steep western cliffs, the final jumping spot of those who offered the gods, the place the lady expects her imperfect baby to be taken. But the sun is rising, birds are singing of new life, and the goddess has accepted the wise woman's prayer. Turning the other way, Kelia follows the stream that winds down the mountain from the source, carrying the baby through wild-flowered hills to a farm on the rocky east coast. Because whispers can work their way up from the island to the hall, as well as down, it is Kelia's business to know who's had babies and who has lost them. She knows a baby girl was born on this lonely farm the night that the child was born to the lady. She also knows that the farm's baby died the same day the sea god took the chief. So she hopes the grieving parents will have room in their hearts for this rejected girl. She's right. It's a small family. The woman who owns the farm, her parents and sister, her husband and 7-year-old son. No one else will know that Isa wasn't born here. After all, there are few mountain goat herds without scars of one sort or another. No one is ever going to notice a girl with a small half-moon mark on each wrist. The only thing Kelia forgets as she starts on the long trail back to the town is to remove the amulet the lady had placed around the daughter's neck the day she was born. The baby hungry, fretful and crying, delivered to new arms, to rough-skinned hands, gentle with love, rubbing the wise woman's salve onto the wounds where floppy thumbs used to be. Waking to a new home, a goat smell, a hearth smoke smell, but a smell of milk and comfort. The arms are Mama's, and the home is her home, but in nightmare dreams, they are new and strange. Book 1, Chapter 1. Another spring, 4 years later. Night is warmth of Mama, snores of Dada, goat rug softness, hearth smoke smell, glowing coals. Now night is screaming. Zufi bursts through the door, gasping, "Raiders!" Isa waking, and the nightmare staying. Brave Zufi run out watching the goats, guarding against wolves and lions with his slingshot and rocks, all by himself, the very first time. When Isa is big, she can do that too, brave like Zufi. Now Zufi has left goats to run, has forgotten wolves waiting to eat young kids. I heard a noise up from the sea, and the moon showed me a band of men climbing the cliffs. Hide, cries Mama, fear eyes staring at her home, her family, her Isa. Fight, says Dada. They'll not take what's ours. Fight, says Gagi. I'm too old to run. Papa grabs his wood-cutting axe and the heavy stone head, and Tati picks up her knife, the sharp shining blade that Isa mustn't touch. But Mama wraps Isa tight in her rug and runs, panting up the hill, far from the house, to tuck Isa in a hollow where the sharp-scented gray-green bush, where Spot Goat's kid was born yesterday. Don't make a sound, says Mama, brushing her fingers over Isa's lips. No matter what you see, no matter what you hear, you stay quiet, still as a stone till I come back. Mama makes her sign that keeps Isa safe and runs back down to home. Isa sees her because the moon is shining bright and round, and Isa's eyes are open, a tiny seeing slit, even though Mama says, close them. Then the screaming starts. Isa wiggles farther from the sharp-scented bush, curls tight as a finger-poked bug, squeezes her eyes good girl shut, and tries not to hear. Still as stone, while the goats bleat and run, up the mountain in the night, away from fire, away from screams, flames lighting the sky, higher than home, screams tearing the night, screams in Isa's head. Isa's legs want to run with the goats, but Mama's sleeping spell holds them tight to the ground through the long red night. Isa cold and all alone. When the screaming stops, Isa's heart cries loud for Mama, though her voice stays quiet, still as stone. Mama doesn't come, but Spot Goat does. Spot Goat bleats and nuzzled at cold toes in morning dew, till Isa wriggles, snake silent, drinks from Spot Goat like a baby kid, because Spot Goat's kid is gone, like Mama. Morning, not morning, with no warm Mama bed. smoke and sky, stinking stronger than the gray-green bush, and her rug piss-wet and cold. Waiting through that long, fear morning, waiting quiet and still as stone. Spot Goat waits too, but Spot Goat doesn't know what Mama said, so she bleats till the man finds them. It's the third time this year that raiders have attacked the island. When the flames of the burning homestead light the sky, distant goat herds call the alarm. 12 men gather from the farms, but long before they get there, silence tells them that they're too late. They trudge on, dreading what they might find. It's as bad as they could have imagined. The house and farm buildings were made of stone, but the roofs were thatched straw. The thatch flamed quickly when the raiders lit it, and the burning roofs collapsed, destroying everything underneath. The rock walls stand like chimneys, smoke pouring from the smoldering mess inside. The husband, grandparents, and dog lie dead in front of the door. There's no sign of the two women or children. The men search hopelessly. All they find is a pool of blood at the gate. "Let's hope that it's raiders," one man says viciously. It probably is, because a bronze dagger is lying under the bush nearby. The owner wouldn't have left it unless he was too wounded to notice. It's a small sort of payment for the dead, and the women and children taken into slavery. The dagger is a murdering weapon, and it needs to be cleaned of blood and cleansed of evil. But the boy who picks it up can't help coveting it. Metal is expensive. His grandmother loves reminding the family that she paid 6 kids and a vat of olives for their one short and plain bronze knife. This one is very fine. Its blade is engraved, and the hilt is carved with the head of a horned beast. "It's the sign of the Bull King," says the oldest man. "If he's behind these raids, the island is in big trouble." "I'll take the dagger to the lady," the boy decides. If he can't keep it, at least he can be the first with the news. He whistles his dog and starts towards the hills to town. 3 men stay to sing the dead to peace before their burial. The others go out with their own dogs and whistle to round up the straying flock, which is how one man discovers Isa, cold, wet, and terrified, sheltering under a nanny goat. "What's your name, little one?" he asks. She doesn't answer. He calls the others. They're so relieved to find one survivor that for a moment they're almost happy. The man who finds her is a hero, except that now he has to go to the orphan child's aunt, the husband's sister, and tell her that her brother is dead and that she has a new child to care for. The man with a crying face carries Isa off the mountain, past home, because home has fire and no roof, no mama or dada, or Gagi, or papa, or doves, or brown dog, or Zufi, or Tati. Turning Isa's face towards his shoulder so she can't see what's there and what's not. But her eyes peek and screams stay in her head, going down the mountain with Spot Goat bleeding behind. Staying quiet, quiet, small, small, waiting still for Mama when the man leaves her far away with Fox Lady. Fox Lady has a sharp-pointed face, sharp-pointed voice. She asks questions that Isa can't answer. Fox Lady doesn't know that Mama said, "Stay quiet, still as stone till I come back." And Mama's not back. Fox Lady calls her ill luck child, cursed child, child that brings evil. No child of my brother's, that's for sure. Isa doesn't know all the words, but she knows what they mean, and she is quieter, stiller, smaller. Fox Lady's eyes are hard like rock, and her voice sharp as a knife. So dark, early morning, silent as a secret, Fox Lady carries Isa out and away from the sleeping house. Spot Goat bleats, and Isa holds out her arms, calling with her mind. Spot Goat comes, trot, 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 her nose reaching for Isa's hand. But Fox Lady slaps Spot Goat's soft nose, Isa's waiting arms, and hurries out the gate, leaving Spot Goat behind. Walk, says Fox Lady, dumping Isa down, grabbing her hand to pull her along. Isa's feet stumbling, loose rocks hitting toes, but the hand tugs and her feet hurry. Up the path, climb another hill, another path, wide and smooth under Isa's feet. The sky glimmering wake-up time, a gray shimmering below, like the pond at home, but going on forever. Fox Lady's hand snakes out, while Isa stares. Fingers grab the mama stone, the stone that's hung from Isa's neck, always and forever, with the sign of her name, but the cord doesn't break, and Isa bites the hand. Slap go the fingers on Isa's cheek. Keep it then, says Fox Lady. They'll still not bring you back to me. She grabs Isa's hand again, tugging hard, tugging hurt, climbing the road, winding farther up the hill. Darker shapes in the gray, houses jumbled up the slope, side by side like sleeping pups, the mountain above them, and the giant's wall, like a goat pen for gods. Now people, people all around. Isa smaller, silent as stone, but she can't be still, because Fox Lady tugs her through the darkness of merely morning, through the people, the mamas and dadas, the gagis and popas, zoofis and tatis. None of them are hers. The sky turns pink over the mountain. The people stop like goats in a pen. Fox Lady lets go of Isa's hand. Let the little one see, says a gagi, and hands push her through the forest of legs, till Isa stands with more Isas and zoofis, pressing faces to the gate, wooden bars against her cheek, as the sun rises over the mountain and out of the darkness. A lady comes singing. The lady is dark, but her voice is bright, singing not songs, not mama songs or sleeping songs or weaving songs or goat songs, but a sound that lifts Isa tall, lifts her high from her small still stone, lifts from the people, and praise and thank you, mother. From a pot at the lady's feet, the song lifts a snake, coiling up, standing high. The lady bends, reaching out like Isa to Spot Goat, and the snake slides up her arm, up to her neck and down again, like the new sun, till the new sun is in the sky and the snake is back in its pot. Bright and golden, the lady stands in front of the dark cave door, while all around Isa, the mamas and dadas, guggies and popos, put hands on hearts, like mama talking to little fat goddess by the hearth where the house snake hides. Isa does too, because if Isa is good, mama will come back. Isa closes eyes to see mama better, to call louder in her quiet, still head, so mama will be there when she opens her eyes. Eyes tiny crack open, like watching home from bed, when mama says sleep. Mama's not there. Eyes open wide, and still no mama. No singing lady. No legs all around. No Fox Lady. But a tall man opening the gate pries Isa's fingers off wooden bars. Where's your mama? But Isa stays quiet, still as stone, as he carries her inside the singing lady's walls. Celia, calls tall man. A Gagi comes, crooked like Papa, wart on her chin, kindness in her eyes, takes Isa from his arms. Alone? She says. Maybe lost, says the man. Helia lady carries Isa on her hip, just like Mama, away from Tall Man, to the wall of the lady's house, puts her down on the low stone bench, squats in front of her, holding Isa's hands, rubbing thumbs over Isa's wrists, finding white moon scars that are Isa's own, and she looks at the Mama stone but doesn't touch. Little one, says Kelia, kissing the scars, looking around fast, then squeezing Isa tight, arms like Gagi's, but not Gagi. No one must know, says Kelia, and Isa stays quiet, still as stone. I will stop there. That was the first chapter and a half of Dragonfly Song by Wendy Orr. We have this book at the library, so if you'd like to find out what happens, you can check it out. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.